Now most budget builds come with compromises in expandability and value. This $500 gaming PC offers excellent bang for your buck and gives you a solid upgrade path. It can handle games at 1080p high without an issue. This is a HardwareHub and let's get right into it. So before we start, I would like to quickly mention I have links for everything in the description, so check those out if you're interested. But with that out of the way, let's get into the build itself. To start it off for the CPU, I went with the AMD Ryzen 5 1600 for $114. This is a 6-core 12-thread CPU that comes clocked at 3.2 GHz out of the box with a boost clock of 3.7 GHz. Now I know what you're thinking, why didn't I go with a new 3600? Well, the main reason is price. This CPU is around 40% cheaper and offers 25% less performance than the 3600. So based on that alone, we can tell that the 1600 offers better price to performance and is at a much lower price bracket. Even though this is cheaper, it can still easily game in all of the latest titles and can do content creation tasks easily as it has 12 threads. It's also unlocked like all Ryzen CPUs, so you're able to overclock it to max out its potential. Now this CPU is a pretty good value as well, since it can even run with GPUs as high-end as the RTX 2060 without any major bottlenecks. So for the price, you're getting a very good mid-range CPU. For the motherboard, we have the ASRock B50M Pro 4-F for $71. This comes with 4 RAM slots, 4 SATA 6 ports, and 2 M.2 slots. Now having 4 RAM slots leaves some room to expand in the future, and those M.2 slots are going to be nice as it can allow you to add in an M.2 SSD in the future. This also has the AM4 socket, which means that you're able to upgrade to the Ryzen 2000 and 3000 series after a few BIOS updates, which gives you a lot of options to upgrade the CPU down the line. This also has a B series chipset, which is important because it unlocks overclocking for the CPU and will allow you to max out the CPU's performance. So altogether, it's a nice mid-range motherboard with a decent amount of expandability options. Now for the RAM, I went with the OLOy 16GB set for $52. Now I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, so if you guys know how to pronounce it, leave it in the comments down below, and I guess it'll be interesting to see what you guys say. But even though this is off-brand, it still offers pretty good performance. It's a dual channel kit that comes clocked at 2666 MHz. Ryzen really benefits from faster and multi-channel RAM because of its Infinity fabric, whose speed depends on the RAM speed. The 16GB capacity is a recommended amount for most games these days, and it will allow for some moderate 1080p and 1440p video editing. So with this, you get a very good kit that fits this build's needs at a very good price. For the storage, I went with the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB for $45. This is a 7200 RPM hard drive that has 64 MB of cache. Now this is nothing special, it just can store all of your games, movies, and large media files, and it does this job at a very low price per gigabyte. Now at this price point, you could go with a 500GB SSD, but with that you're sacrificing storage in exchange for more reliability and faster speeds. If you think you can last with 500GB, I'd recommend you go with that, simply because it's usually easier to just add in a hard drive later compared to adding in an SSD later and having to transfer your OS and all of your applications, which can be a little bit of an annoyance. But even then, I think for most mid-range gamers, this 1TB hard drive will get the job done, and it's at a very good price point. Now for your graphics card, probably the most important part of a gaming PC, we have the XFX RX 570 for $120. Now your GPU is going to give the biggest impact on your gaming performance because your graphics card is what renders all of your frames when you play a video game. Now this specific RX 570 comes clocked at 1168 MHz with a boost clock of 1284 MHz. The 4GB of VRAM this has is not the greatest, but it will get the job done for 1080p gaming. Now you could get the 8GB model of this card, but it's going to be around $30 more. At that point, I would watch out and see if you can snag an RX 580, because the performance difference between an RX 570 4GB and an RX 580 4GB is a lot bigger compared to the performance difference between the RX 570 4GB and the RX 570 8GB. Of course, if you still have questions or you're still confused, leave a comment down below and I'll help you down there. Now this specific model is from XFX, which is considered one of the most reliable AMD GPU manufacturers. Of course, with this card, you also get a lifetime warranty, which is pretty nice. And if you ever have to use a warranty, I've heard very good things about XFX's customer support. Now, overclocking on this should be pretty easy, as the cooler is nice and beefy, and because XFX uses quality components in its GPUs. So for the price, you're getting a very good GPU that can easily handle 1080p gaming. Now for the case, we have the DIYPC for $41. Now while this case does not have any flashy marketing like you see with Cooler Master and some other case manufacturers, it does come with a lot of features, which is what you really need when you're at a budget and you want to buy a case. This comes with a tinted side panel window and a PSU shroud, which are pretty nice features to have. It also has 3 fans pre-installed, which is going to give you very decent airflow and will help you with noise levels and temperatures. Cable management is going to be relatively easy, especially since you can just shove the extra cables under the PSU shroud and because there's a respectable amount of room behind the motherboard. Now this case design is also pretty sleek and minimal, which is what I prefer, and this will probably fit in most PC setups. So while this is not the best case out there, it offers the best experience at the $40 price point. Now last but not least for the power supply, we have the 500W SeaSonic for $52. Now choosing a high quality power supply is important because when a PSU fails, it might take down other components, so you might have saved $10 on the PSU by going with a cheap one, but in the process, if the PSU fails, it might destroy your $200 graphics card. Now SeaSonic makes very good power supplies with very good components, so you will not have to worry about reliability with this. Now this unit is 80+ bronze rated and has 2 8-pins as well. Having 2 8-pins is nice as it doesn't limit what you want to do when it comes to upgrading your GPU in the future. This also comes with black cables, which is an upgrade over the ketchup mustard you get with low-end power supplies and will look very nice and sleek in this PC. SeaSonic makes some very high quality units and this is no exception. So after seeing all these parts, you're probably wondering how will this PC perform. It can play the latest games at 1080p high settings with around 60 FPS. Now if you're playing lighter esports games, you can probably expect to max them out and get very high frame rates as well. This PC will give an experience that will satisfy most 1080p gamers. If you have any questions about this PC or PC building in general, please leave a comment down below and I'll help you down there. I also want to quickly mention once again I have links in the description, so check those out if you're interested. But yeah guys, that's all for today. If you liked the video, please be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like it, please dislike this video and subscribe for more content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.